Hi, and welcome to RTP Business Live. Today, our guest is Ann Close. Ann is the owner and founder of Close HR Connections. She's a human resources consultant who works with startups and small growing companies in a variety of industries. Ann, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Bob. I'm really blessed to be here today.
We are glad to have you. And as an HR consultant, what kind of assistance do you offer businesses?
Close HR Connections for more than 5 years has been offering services on a cost-effective, as-needed basis, ranging everything from hiring to discipline issues to putting together the first handbook or maybe reviewing a handbook that has been out there for 5 years and nobody's looked at it recently.
You're hitting on some pain points of a lot of businesses.
Exactly.
Right
Discipline,
there.
terminations, get lots of questions about how do I terminate somebody? I need to let someone go. So everything in between.
Okay. So the birth to death, shall we say, of an employee, hiring to
employee life
termination.
cycle. Yep.
There we go. Okay. Well, what sets you apart from other HR consulting businesses?
A lot of small businesses in particular get their human resources support from their either payroll company or maybe their bookkeeper or CPA, and oftentimes it's an 800 number, access to a bank of forms and different things that they might need. And
Sounds a little impersonal.
Just a little bit. And they call the 800 number for some support, but you're doing the work at the end of the day. The business owner is the one that has to fill everything out. With Close HR, we're the boots on the ground kind of HR resource. We come out to your office, we sit down, we listen to what you're dealing with, we discuss options that might address the situation, we pick a game plan put together for that particular situation, and we walk through with you every step of the way. Some things you can do, we'll do for you. Other things we'll need your help for, but you've got somebody right there beside you. You're not talking to someone on the phone or trying to figure out a form.
Right. Excellent. Now, you mentioned game plan. I think I want to circle back to that in a minute. But can you give me an example of an HR hot button issue that a small business owner might call you in on?
Right now, the Employment Security Commission is auditing payroll year 2013, and they're sending out lots and lots of notices about we're coming out to see your payroll records. So oftentimes with that, they're also looking for whether you're classifying your employees appropriately, independent contractor versus employee, which there needs to be a strong distinction between the two. If they can flip an independent contractor over to an employee, that means that you're paying more unemployment insurance and more payroll taxes, which is what they want. The other class.
Do they have ability to look back if
they
you've
can. They can go back
someone?
3 years.
Oh my goodness.
So it can be very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
They also are looking to see if you have your employees classified as exempt and non-exempt appropriately. Non-exempt folks are eligible for overtime. So anything after 40, you have to pay time and a half. And oftentimes there's people that are sort of on the borderline. You have them classified as exempt, but they're really not making business decisions. They don't have supervisory responsibilities. They don't have a budget that they're responsible for. They're more support. Therefore, they should probably be non-exempt.
Okay, so there's some pretty specific rules that, you really have to know or have someone who knows
exactly
to walk through that process with. Well, what seems to challenge most small business owners when it comes to those HR matters?
Probably one of the biggest challenges that I get calls about is just confrontation, whether it's a performance issue or a discipline issue that they need to sit down and talk to the employee. That can be really difficult when you discipline an employee, then you have to go out and work with them face-to-face the rest of the afternoon. Kind of causes a little bit of stress. So having a third party come in and be involved, Close HR Connections doesn't have any emotions involved, so it's easy for us to sort of part the waters and get down to the issue and facilitate a good conversation, help with that process. And then the confrontation of a termination is very stressful, and you should definitely have a third party in there to help deal with that situation as well.
Right. You want to keep that process calm and businesslike, and it's somewhat difficult to do if you've had a long-term employee that's for some reason is not working out. So that,
exactly. Because a lot of times in small businesses you're basically family, but there are family issues that happen and you need to address them, but it's very awkward. So having the outside resource, and then nowadays benefits is a big challenge for companies. Do I offer them? Don't I offer them?
Right.
If I offer something, what can I afford? And Close HR can kind of help walk through all those scenarios with you so that you can pick something that's cost effective but also meaningful to your employees, and maybe start at the sort of the ground level, and then we'll build as the company goes. We'll add features in so you don't have to go with the Cadillac plan from day one.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you touched on the issue of having to let someone go and how tricky that can be. Since North Carolina is an employment at will state, does that mean businesses can fire employees anytime, any reason?
Yes and no.
Yes
yes,
and no
you
answer.
can, but it's not a wise thing to do as a responsible employer. You definitely need to do your due diligence, which is documentation, and in HR, documentation is your friend. So we also have a very litigious society, so you can fire someone, but they'll turn around and sue you for anything, anywhere, anytime, any place. So it's good to have the documentation in place where you sat down, discussed the issue, give them an opportunity to correct their performance issue, specific steps, and a time frame to work in. Then you go back and see, have they made significant improvement? Is it consistent improvement? And if not, then we go out another 2 weeks and we sit down with them again. After 2 times, if they haven't corrected their behavior, now you have the documentation in place where you've communicated the issue, they've been given steps to improve on, a time frame to do it in, so the ball's in their court. So if they don't have made any significant improvement, then they're basically determining themselves that termination is the next step. And now when they go down to the Employment Security Commission and they say they got fired and they don't know why, I call that selective amnesia. Then when you get the phone call, they're going to ask for all your documentation. They're going to ask about handbooks. But if you can say, here's a written warning, here's a second written warning, here's where we've given them every opportunity to correct the situation in a reasonable time frame, and they haven't done it, then at that point, I mean, you can terminate them. So it's a cleaner process, and again, documentation is your friend.
Right, and it sounds like that would probably make that process of the final meeting where you're terminating someone less of an explosive situation, because there have been steps taken along the way.
That's true.
And you can help with all of that.
That's very true.
Well, you mentioned game plan. I told you I was going to circle around to it, and here we go. You do refer to the services you offer as HR game plan for startups and small businesses. What does a sports analogy have to do with HR services?
When I first started my business over 5 years ago, oftentimes business owners treated me like I was the IRS. I was trying to take the money from them and ruin their business. So I was trying to help them understand that I'm on their side. I want to be a part of their team to help them grow and be stronger. So I'm the oldest of 2 girls, so I'm the sports fan. And I realized that using sports analogies kind of help break down some of those barriers. So any great coach will tell you that your best offense is a great defense. So in the HR world, defense is compliance issues. What is it that applies to you? If you have 20 employees, what compliance issues do you need to worry about? Let's check those boxes off. Then once we get that taken care of, now we put that on the bench, and then we bring out the offense, which is growing your company. It's adding clients, it's maybe adding a new product, it could be going into a new market space, definitely bringing on new employees, maybe training opportunities. Maybe now you're able to afford more benefits, so what does that look like? So the offense is clicking along. Then if you do get a Employment Security Commission notice, you just call a timeout, bring the defense out and say, okay, what do you want to see? Here you go. And when you can produce that kind of documentation, they know that you're basically running your business responsibly like you're supposed to. If you can't produce that information, then that's when they start asking more questions, and then your fines and penalties just start adding up, and it gets very expensive. So we want to help you be in a position where it's a 10, 15, 20-minute conversation. They realize that there's not any issues that they're really going to get any revenue from, so they're going to go to your next door neighbor. Now you bring the offense back out and you're just clicking along. Then special teams is what sets you apart in the marketplace for qualified candidates. Why do I want to come work for you? You have a story to tell for your clients, so we need a story for your employees. What is it that sets you apart? What are your values? What are your goals? What's the mission and the heartbeat of the company? What is it you're trying to accomplish? Let people know that. Let people know that right now, we're a small business. We offer a dental plan. We don't offer anything else. But intentionally, as our business grows, we're going to start adding those things in. So now as a qualified candidate, I realize that maybe I'm not going to have everything from the beginning, but my values and my passion line up with the company. I really want to be involved in this ground floor opportunity so I can help build something. and I know that I have other resources, maybe Cobra, or I go to the marketplace for a while and get my health insurance there, and then as the business grows, I'm going to have an opportunity to have those things. So now I know that at least there's a future. If I just sit down and you say, hey, we'd love to have you, but we don't offer any benefits, and you know,
that's not a compelling story.
It's not a compelling story.
No.
So it definitely brings in higher quality candidates, and it's people that are very driven and very passionate about what you're doing, and that's what you're looking for. You want employees that, you know, they're just kind of coming by your side and they're moving the business forward with you. It's not just a punch in the clock and working my 8 hours and I go home. I really care about making this happen.
Right. That's a great point. People work so hard on their business externally, but they need to also have the vision for the folks who work there, and so they can buy in and understand how important they are to the company and the company's goals and aspirations. So great point.
Exactly. And that HR game plan then, with offense, defense, and special teams, it fits with your business plan. And then as your business plan changes, we just tweak your HR plan to support that. Because pretty much anything you're going to do in the life cycle of your company is going to affect your people. So we want to make sure that the business goals and the people are going lockstep, going in the same direction.
As a sports fan, I totally get the HR game plan approach and appreciate it. It really locks things into place for me and helps me understand where you're coming from with the different pieces of the puzzle that people need to understand to grow their business and to have a better HR game plan for theirs. Well, Ann, it's been great to have you today. I wanted to make sure, if there are any questions I didn't think to ask you, if we wanted to circle back and touch on those, or did we cover everything you wanted to talk about today?
Sure. I think I'd like to wrap it up with, you know, Close HR Connections has a passion for helping small businesses and startups, and we're going to work with you every step of the way. We've also been blessed to have basically a team of our own. And so when we get into situations, if it comes up that we need an attorney to get involved or a CPA opinion on something, we have a resource team that we can bring in that we know that can not only help us a situation, but even shed light on something we didn't even think about. So not only are you just getting the Close HR Connections, you're also getting the team of folks that we've been blessed to get to know and work with. So you really have a team behind you, and you're not just calling an 800 number and trying to figure it out yourself. You've got support right there beside you.
You got the team and the resources of the team.
That's right.
Nice. Nice. Well, we've been so pleased to have Ann Close today of Close HR Connections. We want to thank everybody for joining us today on RTP Business Live. To find out more about Ann's company, there will be information at the end of this video and also on the web page.